drug addiction in Kenya remains a huge challenge for not just the government, but for families of those addicted to the different types of drugs available. The problem of addiction oftentimes stripping both users and their families in a seemingly never-ending cycle of dependency and poverty. But even in the midst of the despondency, there are those who have managed to break that cycle. And as our very own Brenda Wanga now reports, are now helping fight the menace. Take a listen.
The Kenyan coastal shoreline is home to some of the continent's best beaches. Every year, thousands of tourists flock these beaches to sample these offerings.
Salam.
But hidden on the same shoreline are some caves, and in those caves, lives are wasting away. Groups of men and women gather, sheltered from the morning sweltering Mombasa heat. They're here to get their daily fix of heroin, one of the drugs highly abused here. They go through the motions of getting the raw heroin to a consumable state before injecting the addictive drug into their bloodstream. Unlike other addicts, this group uses new clean needles to inject the drugs. The needles and other supplies are brought here daily by Murad Swaleh, a peer educator and community worker. Murad knows the ins and outs of these dens. 20 years ago, he was one of the users here. He said he had to pull himself out of the pits of drug abuse by his bootstraps, and it wasn't an easy task to do. The journey into and out of drug addiction for the 48-year-old Murad began a long time ago, and quite innocently too. The entry drug for him was cigarettes.
Sigara nimeanza nikiwa mdogo sana, nikiwa KG2 navuta sigara. So nikikumbuka kwa sababu ya culture yetu ya Mombasa, marungi inakubaliwa. So ni kitu ambao nilikuwa nikipewa nikitafuna. In class 4 nakumbuka nilikuwa nikivuta bangi. Nilikuwa rude sana school kwa sababu ya ile steam ya bangi.
Before long, he had outgrown cigarettes and graduated into the hard stuff and into the hard life that comes with this usage. Murad's heroin abuse saw him spend the next 13 years of his life in and out of prison as his life went down a dark hole. He lost his family, his first wife unable to put up with his erratic existence. By this time, he had graduated to injecting the heroin into his bloodstream to maintain the high he needed to function.
Ni kitu gani ambao iliniingiza paka nikawa katika ile hard drugs ambao ni heroin, pombe, pills, it's because of love. Naweza sema because of love. Kuna msichana ambaye alikuwa nimempenda sana. Na kitu kingine pia ni separation ya baba na mama. Hiyo ilinifanya kuwa mnyonge katika udogoni mwangu. So nakumbuka in 1995 ni mara ya kwanza mimi tayari nimeshikwa naingia shimo la tewa kwa sababu ya utumizi wa madawa ya kulevya.
The toll of his drug abuse was particularly hard, especially on his mother.
Ilikuwa ni ngumu kwangu kama mimi mzazi. Sababu unajua mtoto akiwa anatumia madawa kulevya huwa anaudhi kila siku, anaudhi nyumbani, anachukua vitu anauza, anakumalizia vitu vyako nyumbani, lakini nimeng'ang'ana.
Murad has been clean for 10 years now and has turned his life around. A new family that he takes care of. He now spends his days trying to keep those still using safe while preaching against drug abuse among those who are at risk.
Yani mimi ananijali, anamjali mamake, babake, kwenye familia huwa ni kitu kimoja. Kama ingekuwa sio hivyo hata tungekuwa kila mtu yuko mbali, lakini nashukuru Mungu yuko karibu na sisi.
Najua ile shida nilopitia mimi, yule mwenzangu asipitie. Kwa sababu kitambo kuna watu walikuwa sindano huwezi kuuziwa chemist. Jambo la kusikitisha, unaenda Coast General, mahali sindano zimetupwa, mnaokota pale mna inject. The same sindano, hujui mtu ameathirika ama nini. Unaona? So far okay, community haielewi.
Murad's current job sees him leave his home every morning to fulfill his new calling in life. At one of the outreach programs dealing with the drug menace, he collects his tools of trade. His office of the day is a drug dens along the shore of the Indian Ocean. The users here eagerly await for his arrival daily. They know that what he carries with him is their safety net. He brings them syringes and needles that they need to safely use the drugs. But beyond the supplies, he also counsels those not too far gone into the addiction.
Si kazi rahisi, ni kazi ngumu kwa sababu hata upigiwa simu kaambia bana njoo kijana wangu mimi simuelewi. So kitu cha kwanza ambao ni kwenda ni kuongea naye, kujua ni uraibu gani ambao anautumia. Na most of them ikiwa ameingilia heroin huwa wasemi. Lakini through my experience najua kuwa huyu sahihi ameingilia heroin ama huyu yuko kwa bangi ama yuko kwa pills. Nani?
The Reach Out Trust Center, where Murad found a home after addiction, believes that the work Murad and other officers like him do is critical to weeding out the drug menace in the county of Mombasa.
A lot of them are already under that program. That's also seeing some positive impact. So we have peer-to-peer kind of assistance. So for people who have been infected with drug use and even HIV, here to help their colleagues be able to come out of this dilemma.
It's very hard to believe that we have heroin in the street of Mombasa and we don't have a poppy plant being planted here or cultivated. What also gives me worries and also concerns most of the time, every day in our work, is it's very easy at this time to be able to buy heroin than to buy sugar from a supermarket.
Murad says he will continue spreading the anti-drug abuse gospel not just in his hometown of Mombasa, but also in the larger coastal region that remains one of the most affected by hard drug abuse in the country. Outside of Nairobi, Kilifi, Mombasa, Kwale and Kiambu account for 43% of all the estimated number of people who inject drugs in Kenya. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV, Mombasa County.